So the day the Super League collapsed, Mark Ogden alongside Mark Donaldson here on ESPN FC. We're going to talk a lot later about whether or not this is still something in the future that could happen. But an ever-changing story, Mark Ogden, as it stands when we speak right now, where are we with all of this?
Well, as it stands right now, two clubs are left standing. Real Madrid and Barcelona have yet to withdraw from the European Super League. They might stay in it. You know, they can have a perennial El Clasico every week of the season for the rest of time. But obviously, the Super League is now in past tense. I don't think it'll happen. Well, it won't happen certainly for the foreseeable future. But I don't think it's gone away. But I think, as it stands right now, a lot of club owners have got a lot of answering to do to their supporters, to fellow executives, to the leagues. So they're on the naughty step right now, that's for sure.
And when you're on the naughty step, you have different ways of apologising. Arsenal, very contrite. Look, we screwed up. We're sorry. We made a mistake. Others, Man United, well, they've lost their chief executive as a result of this. Liverpool, well, Kenny Dalglish came out after the likes of Jurgen Klopp had come out, and Jordan Henderson and James Milner. I don't want to say who's come out of this best, because they've all made a mess of it, but who's dealt the best with the contrition?
Oh, it's a good question. Do you know something? I saw John W. Henry's apology on the video today, and I actually felt that although he's given a lot of praise for the way he did it, I think that Liverpool have got the biggest problem in this, because, you know, the Glazers haven't apologised at Man United yet, and I don't expect they will, because they've never had a real kind of dialogue with the fans. I think Arsenal's apology, it was a nice apology, but it wasn't kind of signed by Stan Kroenke, so Stan Kroenke's kind of distanced himself from it. The difference with Liverpool is that their owners, FSG, have always projected themselves to be quite different. You know, almost the caring owners. You know, they've had a dialogue with fans. They've branded this slogan. This means more. Well, more what? More money? Who knows? But the fact that they felt they could have a relationship with the Liverpool fans, and that they have now sabotaged that in many ways. His apology is almost like, look, we know we've hurt you, but we never asked you about this. We kept it secret. You know, it was a strange apology in the sense that he was trying to be contrite, but there's so many unanswered questions there. So he's having to apologise for things that he's got wrong. Whereas the Glazers and Kroenke, I don't think they care, because they've never communicated with the fans. So I'd be more disappointed in those guys if they apologise, because it would be going against the grain of what they've always done. So I think Liverpool have got the biggest ground to make up, the Liverpool owners, and I think they'll struggle to do it. I think the Liverpool fans feel betrayed.
No one of the six English teams that were involved in this really read the room very well. And that's a bit of an understatement. How much damage has been done to their reputations going forward? And what can UEFA, FIFA, and others do now as a way of, hey, you've screwed up here, you're going to have to pay the price?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to kind of separate this, that the club owners have created the damage, and they're the ones that have to repair the damage. The clubs themselves, you know, the clubs are almost like collateral damage in this, because they are owned by these people, but these people don't have the same affection and connection that fans do. So in many ways, the clubs are not to blame. It's the people in charge. So how do you punish the people in charge of the club without punishing the club, without punishing the supporters and the players who had no part in this? That's a difficult thing. Is it a financial penalty? Is it a sense where governments get involved and say you have to reduce your shareholding? I'm not sure that's feasible in the UK. But we have to find a way to say to these guys, I'm sorry, but you've gone way too far with this. You absolutely misread the room. And this is the punishment. But right now, I don't know how you punish them. You know, each country has different regulations. In Germany, we have the 50+1 rule, where there's a large contingent of supporters, you know, ownership of clubs. It's not happening in the UK. In the UK, in England, you know, all clubs have been sold to people from all over the world without any real kind of checks and balances. There is a fit and proper persons test, but it's very flimsy. And I'm not suggesting any of the big six owners shouldn't pass that. They're obviously very wealthy business, but there are, you know, they've all done various things for their clubs, different things. But I just think it's the way that they've handled the club's history and their traditions, that they've just ignored them completely. And unfortunately, the worst of these are the American owners at Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United. I think at Chelsea, Roman Abramovich was quick to backtrack. I think Sheikh Mansour at Man City again. Tottenham, we never hear from Joe Lewis at Tottenham. The Spurs on. I think Spurs are that way down the ranking on this in terms of being lucky to get in there in the first place. I think they were just kind of celebrating being invited, considering they haven't won anything since 1961 or certainly the league. But how do we punish owners, billionaire owners, for what they've done? It's very difficult.
Well, a financial penalty is like fining you £10 of your £1 million a year ESPN FC salaries. It's not going to make a dent. But I mean, you speak about the American owners, and over here where we are right now at ESPN, there's this NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. There is no relegation, and it's a closed shop once you're in it. That's the same as Major League Soccer. It's a franchise business. And the owners over here, look, you can't put every owner into the same basket in that they all do this or they all do that. There's a lot of owners that care about the fans of their club, the custodians of their club. But in the UK, with these 6 owners, and you mentioned the American ones about this, how do you ensure going forward that, as you said right at the start, this is something they might want to revisit in the future, but it's got to be done a very different way?
I think, they went for this idea because they had issues in terms of how much money they paid for Champions League, how much prize money they get. The big clubs feel that they drive the revenue of all the clubs, and I think they have a point there. The Premier League is the most successful in terms of generating finances in the world because of the big 6. If you take the big 6 out of the Premier League, with all due respect to the other clubs, nobody's paying £4-5 billion for a broadcasting contract to show Crystal Palace versus Newcastle on Monday night. They want to watch Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, all these big clubs. So they hold the power in that respect. But equally, without the rest of the Premier League, without the other clubs, they have no power. So they need each other. They all need each other. But I think that's been forgotten in this, that the big clubs feel that they drive everything. But we've all seen, Leeds United have been a fantastic addition to the Premier League this season. Wolves in the past. We've seen clubs at the bottom of the league beat the top of the league. And we've seen, 20 years ago, Leeds United were in the Champions League semi-finals. Newcastle were a Champions League team. Everton, massive club, have won more league titles than Tottenham and Man City combined. So how do we judge these big super clubs? Is it based on what they are today, what they were in the past? So I think we have to accept that football it's a moving feast of things, and in 5 years' time, another club might gate crash the big 6. Man City, I remember being in 1999 when Man United won the treble. Man City were promoted from the 3rd division of English football, the 3rd division. So clubs have changed their fortune over the years. Who's to say that there'll be a different set of clubs in 5 years?
Finally, as it stands right now, there will be no European Super League over the next year or two. But maybe Florentino Perez phones the Glazers in 10 years' time. I've got this idea for a Super European League. How do they take the embers of this and make it into something that a lot more people can get behind, including the governing bodies of football?
Well, what they have to do is make sure that everybody is involved. Now, on this occasion, I think they went for this idea without consulting the fans, the confederations, the associations, the rival clubs. And I think to get them on board, you have to consult them. And I'd imagine it will involve evidence of more money being trickled down to the clubs that aren't in this so-called exclusive club, but also make it more accessible. So rather than having 15 permanent members and 5 teams across Europe every year, it's not a big list of access. Make it more accessible, make it more appealing to fans, make it seem like it's not an exclusive club just for the rich. Money talks in everything, and it does in football as well. I think if those disenfranchised clubs find that they're going to earn more money from this, if the supporters find that their ticket price is going to be reduced, if player wages maybe come down so it's not such a divisive issue, they might be able to sell this. But to sell it to the people that didn't want it this time, they have to make it appeal to them. And as it was right now, it was just an arrogant, almost like a money grab by the people that have already got the money anyway. So it was never going to come off.
And by the way, UEFA has put on hold their plans to announce this brand new Champions League restructure. I wonder when they do announce it over the next week or two, more than likely, if things may have been tweaked, given what we've seen with these 6 clubs and this European Super League.
Well, potentially. I don't think they'll try to punish it. They'll talk about punishing the clubs, but they also realise that these are the money-driving clubs. So they can't kick Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United out of these competitions, because as much as they would like to, the money would plummet. The broadcasters wouldn't want to show Shakhtar Donetsk versus Bate Borisov rather than Real Madrid versus Manchester United. It's an unfortunate reality. But I think UEFA want to make it more equitable. I think what we need is, I think Florentino Perez may have actually given himself away a little bit by talking about fans are losing interest, fans are bored. Well, maybe fans are losing interest because they're sick of seeing the same teams in the Champions League year after year after year without the teams from Poland, from the Czech Republic, from Russia, from Sweden getting more of an access, more of a go in this. Maybe they need to broaden it so that there's more Leicester Cities in the Champions League. And I think that would encourage more fans to watch. But right now they just want it to concentrate to the biggest clubs at the very top. And I think UEFA have to look at that and find a way to make it a broader church again.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.